Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and we're going to be checking out which classes are getting hit with the nerf bat this time around with these class updates for the 11.0.5 patch on the PTR. Now, the first thing is that they're turning character copies off and character templates off, which is a bit weird because now I don't know how I'm going to even test a lot of these things. Bit concerning there. I don't really want to be leveling them. I hope that's a temporary change. Tail swipe is no longer a racial for Drakthir. It is instead learned baseline for evokers. So I think tail swipe was the knock up. So they realized, I think, that the AoE knock-up was going to be a problem. I still think the extra movement speed you get from the double jump is probably going to be like BIS and like Mythic Plus and PvP for melee classes at least, but maybe even ranged in PvE. But in PvP, definitely being able to cancel knockbacks like Warriors and Rogues are definitely going to go Drakthir when they can. For Death Knights, for Sand Lane, Gift of the Sand Lane has been updated. While Dancing Rune Weapon is active, you gain Gift of Sand Lane. This is previously Vampiric Blood. I think Dancing Rune Weapon is a much shorter cooldown, but I haven't played Blood in a long time, so maybe this just lines up better as far as being a damage enhancement as opposed to a mitigation enhancement. A little bit uncertain with this one. Resto Druid's getting a lot of new cool tools here. You're getting a new talent called Twin Leaf. Nature Swiftness has 2 charges. What the... Okay, new talent, Wildwood Roots. Abundance now also reduces the cast time of regrowth by 5% per stag. Cenarian's Ward's cooldown is also reduced by 10 seconds, and its duration is increased by 2 seconds. That's like old school Wrath Lich King Nourish, and you're getting Super Sen Ward. New talent, Renewing Surge. The cooldown of Swiftmend is reduced by up to 40% based on the current health of the target. Cooldown is reduced more when cast on a lower health target. Now, getting your soul to forest frequently is kind of like the main goal of Druid, so maybe against like really heavy burst comps, single target burst comps, or even just single target burst situations in PvE, maybe you take that. New talent, Forest's Flow. Consuming clear casting now causes your regrowth to also cast Nourish onto a nearby injured ally at 60% effectiveness, preferring those with heal over time effects. That is so busted, it's crazy. What, you're in Tree of Life form spamming clear casting instant regrowths that are also going to nourish. Okay. Dream of Cenarius has been redesigned. Wrath and Shred transfer 50% of their damage, and Starfire and Swipe transfer 33% of their damage into healing onto nearby allies. This effect is increased by 200% while Heart of the Wild is active. I think they already had this, although this seems to be a bit different. Wrath is going to do a lot of healing on this. You're going to have like, this is basically atonement healing for Resto Druid. Element of Clarity is now just a passive. You don't have to waste a talent on it. Harmonious Blooming is now a 1-point talent, and Flourish has apparently had its visual effects improved. Seems pretty wild for Resto Druid so far. That's a crazy update. Evoker, Unravel damage is going up. This is the shield cracker, and we have seen like shields are pretty strong at the moment, at least on priests, and I don't know if there's a lot of mobs in dungeons like that, and they want this lined up for that. It's a bit strange because Evokers are already just so desirable anyways, at least augmentation. Tail Swipe is baseline. We covered that already. Unravel now also benefits from consumes Iridescence Blue. So it's going to have some synergies to just do massive damage to break out big shields. For Hunters, Pack Leader, Scattered Prey duration increased to 20 seconds, up from 15. For Survival, Grenade Juggler has been updated and now resets the cooldown of Explosive Shot instead of automatically firing it. I think it was a lot of survival hunters, particularly Big Mix on Twitter, that was upset about this thing randomly hitting pets, and now I'm going to bet that he's a lot happier with this. By allowing you to manually fire the explosive shot, we can open up this talent's ability to synergize with existing effects like Grenader's Juggler's own cooldown reduction, while also eliminating some frustrating edge cases. Relentless Marauder has been updated, now also increases Fury of the Eagle's damage by 10%. Frenzy Strike's Wildfire Bomb cooldown reduction per target hit increased to 3 seconds, up from 1. What? For Merciless Blow duration reduced to 8 seconds, down from 12. And Killer Companion now increases Kill Command's damage by 10 to 20%, up from 5 to 15. And Sentinel's AoE, I'm assuming this is the AoE circle on the ground, got a 200% damage bonus. I don't know if MM Hunters needed to hit harder. Is this Survival Sentinel only, or is this like MM Sentinel only? And where are the BM Hunter buffs, bro? BM Hunter blows, dude. BM Hunter needs some love, dude. I can't remember the name of the talent, but they introduced a new talent that makes it say like you hit a single target, your damage ramps up on it. That talent is really bad for Mythic Plus and PvP because you're always switching targets. Mob dies, got to switch targets. That talent just needs to go. It's just, if the class is balanced around this ramping single target damage like that, I just don't see it being viable in any content in the game. For Mage, Frostfire, Excess Fire has been updated. No longer generates Living Bomb. Instead, it generates Frostfire Burst, dealing moderate Frostfire damage in an 8-yard radius and damage beyond 8. So the advantage is that it does Frost and Fire now instead of just Fire. And maybe it's going to do a bit more damage because Living Bomb is poo-poo. So a little bit of update there for Frostfire Mage. I didn't know Frost Mage needed to get better, but it looks like it might be. For Sun Fury, Glorious Incandescence has been updated. Now causes Arcane Barrage to deal 30% increased damage in addition to its previous effect. Okay, Memory of Alar's Arcane Soul Extension amount increased to 1 second, up from 0.5. This is a big bust for Mage. Ignite the Future now also increases the maximum stacks of Mana Cascade to 15. Burden of Power no longer affects Arcane Barrage. I'm uncertain as to what that means. Maybe that's why they're buffing the damage for it up top, and then this is to compensate for the loss of this. Arcane Mages, let us know in the comments down below. Fix an issue that was causing Mana Cascade to grant 0.5% haste per stack instead of 1. It's always changes like this that get me, where I'm like, I don't really know if anything works the way it says it works. You know, this thing says it gives me 5% haste. I don't know if it does, because this thing didn't. So, but you're getting more haste. So Sun Fury Mage is getting a lot better. Sun Fury for Fire specifically, that was for Arcane. And for Fire, Glorious Incandescence is being updated. Now causes Fire Blast to hit up to 2 nearby targets in addition to its previous effects. Oh, I mean, it's going to be fun in dungeons to do that, but in PvP now, like that was one of your abilities, maybe to press to not break CC. Although maybe it's Spread Ignite, I'm not sure. Make it just more of your abilities AoE could be kind of rough for not breaking CC. Fire is already not doing great just damage-wise, though, and I don't think this is enough. Memory of Alar's Hyperthermia extension amount increased to 1 second, up from 0.5. And Mistweavers, you're not getting that 100% Crackling Jade Lightning damage no more. Remember, they put like a bunch of different modifiers on it. I think it was the one that was like 1,000, and then it's going to AoE and jump targets. So it's like they probably just overdid it on this one and wanted to make, you know, Crackle really cool and do a lot of damage, which just ended up doing too much. For Paladin, fix an issue that caused Sealed Crusader to display the incorrect heal value. Okay. Fix an issue that caused face armor to appear multiple times in the talent tree for Protection Paladins. For Herald of the Sun, Dawnlight's activation stacks now appear on the personal resource, just UI updates. Dawnlight now appears on enemy nameplates. We like UI updates, though, especially for the hero talents, since they're going to be evergreen. Holy Divine Favor now appears on the personal resource display, but no longer has a visual effect. Your hands aren't going to glow. Awakening's Judgment buff now appears on the personal resource display. For Prop Paladin, Gift of the Golden Valkyr is 1 point, Uther's Council is 1 point, and several talents have changed locations. For Rogues, a lot of Rogues are upset about this Subtlety procking. Now they're making it proc below 30 energy instead of 50. I don't know if that makes it any better or worse, because I don't play Rogue enough to know, but I think not having, you know, on-demand control of this, you'd have to be like, know that you can, you know, you would basically spend all of your damage and then be out of energy and then get the mastery and then have no energy to hit with it. Like it could be a bit weird, but you're getting a new talent as well. Supercharger, Shiv/Roll to Bones / Symbols of Death supercharges 1 out of 2 combo point. Damage and finishing moves consume a supercharged combo point to function as if they spent an additional 2 combo points. Is this just replacing the Kyrian ability? Because it didn't that supercharge your combos? Let's see what they say about this. It's intended that Supercharger's bonus count towards any ability that scales the combo point spent and not just the damage value of finishing moves. Examples including Rupture's duration, Poison Bomb's effect chance, Restless Blade's cooldown reduction, and Flagellation's lashes dealt. Okay. So it's like a super echoing reprimand. New talent, Forced Induction, increases the bonus granted when damaging finishing moves consume a supercharged combo point by 1. Choice node with echoing reprimand. So you get like an extra super, this is going to be like a big one-shot, I assume. Echoing Reprimand has been redesigned. After consuming a supercharged combo point, your next Mutilate, Sinister Strike, Backstab strikes with an Echoing Reprimand. So it's not an on-use ability. They're turning Echoing Reprimand into a passive. I mean, Rogue did need some keybind reductions. I think that in 11.0.5, what they're really trying to do with Rogue is reduce the keybinds and make it a bit easier to play. Because obviously that's one of the reasons it's like one of the least played specs in the, or just classes in the game, I think. It's because it's a bit over bloated. So this is just one of the aims, I think, with that. Cheap shot duration increased to 6 seconds, but the PvP duration is still 4. Thank God. I mean, Peekaboo would have been really happy about that, but okay. It's cheap shot. Like, I just feel like it's like cheap shot is bad in PvE because it's not AoE. You pull 400 mobs. Who cares if you cheap shot 1 for 6 seconds? Like no one in the group cares. I feel like It'd be different if the dungeon was about pulling like 1 or 2 mobs at a time and you needed to stun lock one for a while. But it's just pull AoE and blast. So I don't really know if that's going to fix the problem in PvE. Subterfuge now also grants duration to combat bonuses that require stealth and also have a duration that persists after breaking stealth, including Taken by Surprise, Improved Garrote, Master Assassin, Indiscriminate Carnage. Grants duration to combat bonuses. What the hell does that? I don't even know that. I don't understand the language in that. Somebody needs to explain this to me. I'm a boomer. Sometimes I'm misreading the notes and sometimes I don't understand them. This one is like, it sounds good. Grants duration to combat bonuses. Are you getting more garrotes? Because I don't want to get garroted more. I'll be honest. If that means more garrotes, I don't want to get garroted more. The following talents have been removed though: Resounding Clarity and Reverberation. And I'll be honest, I don't know what those are. So if those are a big deal, rogues, let us know in the comments down below. But I do not know. Hero talents: Fatebound. Edge case now flips a Fatebound coin on its edge when you activate Deathmark or Adrenaline Rush instead of your next finishing move after activation. So they're tying the coin flip to your cooldowns as opposed to your combo point expenditure. So it's like more like immediate on demand. Trickster coup de grace now correctly attributes its combo points to abilities that are affected by number of combo points spent, including numerous finishing moves and passives similar to the function of the Supercharger talent. So those are probably going to like double dip and be really hard hitting. Activating coup de grace no longer grants 1 second of immunity that prevents player actions for the duration. No longer grants 1 second of immunity that prevents player actions for the duration. Oh, so it's like it like procs some sort of animation. You couldn't do anything in it. That's good. That's a good change. I kind of wonder if this rework to Rogue, like everyone's panicking about it, but it's going to end up being like the Rep Paladin rework, if you remember that, where it's like now you're just getting these huge combo point hits that are just going to crack people and you don't have to worry about pressing as many keybinds to set up that damage. I feel like Rogue could definitely be going in that direction. Assassination, Master Assassin, duration increased to 6 from 3, and bonus critical strike reduced though from to 25 down from 30. Give me more sustain. Little less burst. Iron Wire Silence and damage reduction durations reduced to 5 seconds from 6 and 8 seconds. PvP duration of the damage reduction effect reduced to 3 from 4, and the PvP duration of the silence effect is staying the same. Okay, so we're getting silence for the same amount, but we're not going to have our damage modified by a huge amount afterwards. And you get garroted so much silence to come out that you do less damage. So I'm glad that they're looking at this mechanic and making it a bit weaker. Blade Flurry's initial damage effect radius increased to match the area of its primary effect. For Subtlety, First Dance has been redesigned. Remaining out of combat for 6 seconds increases the duration of your next Shadow Dance by 3 seconds. In PvP combat, the effect requires 10 seconds out of combat, and it only increases dance's duration by 2. Are they trying to bring back the Wound Man playstyle where you run behind a pillar and you're just constantly looking for restells? Flagellation cooldown reduced to 1 minute, down from 1 minute and 30. That's going to line up way better, I think, with a lot of stuff. But the damage is being reduced by 25%. The initial effect duration reduced to 10, down from 12. And trailing buff duration reduced to 10 from 12. So it does feel like they're trying to give more sustain towards Rogue and a lot less keybind setup, which could end up being good for the class's performance overall. But I'm worried if you step over the line too far and it's like now you're not a Rogue anymore. So gonna have to keep an eye on that as changes come through. For Ellie, you're getting 8% damage reduction. It's traded off with a 20% lava burst buff and a 17% earthquake buff and a 12% Ellie blast buff and a 25% erupting lava flame shock damage buff. So what got nerfed? Chain lightning, basically, like all the lightning spells. But the lava burst is getting stronger, which means in PvP, I think you're definitely going to be stronger. Stormbringer fixed several interactions between Tempest and other spec talents. An issue with Arc Discharge granting 1 instant cast lightning bolt or chain lightning instead of 2. That seems like a really important bug fix. Enhancement Shamans, guys, you got another essay, dude. Enhancement Shamans, you got another essay. Voltaic Blaze, new talent. Lightning bolt and chain lightning has an 18% chance to make your next flame shock become voltaic. Did they just change the name of this? Isn't it called something else? Voltaic Blaze instantly shocks the target and 5 nearby enemies with blazing thunder, causing nature damage and applying flame shock. Oh my god, that's a lot of passive, just like extra AoE. But I mean, you could already spread it with Lava Lash. I guess it's so you can spread flame shock even without the Lava Lash build. New talent, Unrelenting Storm. When Crash Lightning hits only one target, it activates Wind Fury weapon and its cooldown is reduced by 40%. Choice note, Converging Storms. I don't know if you're ever going to only hit one target. It's like very rare in any situation other than maybe a boss for that. But it's kind of weird that they're trying to make an AoE ability a single target ability. It's kind of losing its identity a bit, I think, doing that. Storm Blast has been updated. Storm Strike has an additional charge. Ooh. Storm Surge now also causes your next Storm Strike to deal 25% additional damage as nature damage, stacking up to 2 times. Enhance, you guys are getting a lot of love. I'm not going to lie. You're getting a lot of love. Storm Blast additional nature damage now functions for both main hand and offhand attacks. Arc Lightning has been updated. Tempest causes your next Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt to be instant cast. This, I think it was already in here. It deals 40% increased damage and will cast an additional time. So you get 2 Lightning Bolts. Thorm's Invocation has been slightly adjusted. If Thorm's Invocation is slated to use Chain Lightning, it will no longer cast a 5-stack Tempest as a replacement of Chain Lightning when using Wind Strike. It'll no longer cast it. Oh, so you were cheesing this. So I think it's a bit of a nerf. Thorm's Invocation old effect has been added back. 20% increased Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning damage. Okay, Enhancement Shamans. Pop off, I guess. Deeply Rooted Elements now activates from Tempest, Lightning Bolt, or Chain Lightning. Damage effect of Doom Winds is no longer considered a melee weapon attack and does not generate Maelstrom weapon or trigger Flame Tongue weapon. Ooh, it's a bit of a nerf. Maybe Doom Winds was doing too good now that they've made it AoE. I think it gives you like a little whirly circle. An issue causing Primal Maelstrom to still grant 5 to 10 stacks of Maelstrom weapon instead of 3 to 5 has been resolved. Ice Strike is now a choice node between a new ranged version and the existing melee version. That's good that they're giving the ranged option for that. Ice Strike no longer highlights Frost Shock on the action bars. Good. I feel like my action bar, literally everything lit up whenever I'm playing Enhancement Shaman, so you're struggling to get rid of it a lot of the times. Ice Strike's Frost Shock buff is now a personal resource display, and Lightning Spark has been removed. Was that the movement speed? I don't know if that's a baseline counter or not. Fixed several issues with interactions between Tempest and other spec talents. For Warlock hero talents, the cycle of Diabolical Ritual is now reset when entering an arena, entering Battleground. Okay, good, thank God. So you're not going to cheese summon in a Pit Lord immediately. Overlord will now use an alternative attack if there are no available paths for charging. There should be no difference in throughput between the alternative attack and this current attack. So just in case he can't charge the target, you get guaranteed damage. That's good. Fixed an issue where collecting certain Dragonflight Season 4 appearances were not unlocked their alternate versions despite using the Gleaming Incarnate Thunderstone, Obsidian Spectral Earthstone. So that's a PvP fix, I think, for the transmogs to get their weapon or their appearance glows. PvP changes. Okay, Resto Druids, you're getting a little bit of a compensation for that massive buff. Nature Swiftness bonus healing is now 40% less effective. Cenarian Ward healing is also 20% less effective. And Renewing Surge is 75% effective in PvP combat. Forest Flow is 50% effective in PvP combat. So definitely some offsets for PvP specifically. We haven't seen any changes for Prez Evoker, which makes me think that they're gathering data from this first week of PvP testing to do hot fixes. This is more or less, you know, these changes are aimed at like big rework stuff for 11.0.5 and not so much like weekly tuning updates like we're likely going to probably see on Friday if they get enough data, I would assume. But make sure you smash the subscribe button so you always stay up to date with this. Hope you guys enjoyed this patch review, and I will see you in the next one.